Welcome to CAPECAST. We are back this week. Oh, that's a nice little move you got there, Brandon. Oh, this little thing?
Oh, boy.
That was pretty good.
It's Brandon's mating call.
Yeah. Melissa.
Melissa's hair just stood up on the back of her neck. Ooh.
It never works.
But darn it, you'll keep trying.
I will.
So we are back this week reviewing the 16th chapter of The Mandalorian. It's the season finale. And Jeff was not able to make it this week, unfortunately. But we've got a cool show planned. We're excited to talk about this thing, and there are a lot of cool storylines from this episode and some surprises that people weren't expecting. So before we get started, I'll just tell everybody that we invite you to get involved with us on social at CapeCast Show on Twitter. We love chatting about all things nerd there. And then on Instagram, we invite you to check out at CiNEMACHiNE, and that is where we kind of tweet about all of the podcast shows that we have going on. So to get things started, let's go around the room and get general thoughts on the episode. Brandon, fire away.
Let's see. The rescue. What do I have in my notes? Procedural. I have that written down.
It's back.
No. I keep procedural in my notes as a reminder in case I forget that
That's
word.
the name of his notebook. People have composition. Brandon has procedural notebooks.
Procedural notebook.
No, I really liked this episode. It was good. It was a good finale. Again, I think we've kind of touched on this, but it's been good these last 4 or 5 episodes to see them getting momentum on the overall story arc. I thought that pretty much across the board, it was very Star Wars. It felt like this one had the most money put into it in terms of sets and
Agreed.
Effects and things like that, which was good. Probably felt the biggest of the episodes, but I mean, I thought it was really good. We can get into specifics about the major, I guess, talking point that most people are going to address in this episode later. But that's probably one of my hang-ups with this episode, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, overall, good episode. Good kind of maybe closing the story of this overall Grogu chapter, so to speak. But
Sure.
we'll see how that plays out going forward. But yeah, that's
Cool.
all I got to say about that.
Al, what you got?
That was good. And then Katie Sackhoff showed up, and
Right when you showed
So
up.
about 5 minutes in, so it was good for 5 minutes.
I panicked. I was like, oh no. I don't know. I had to get through it. I like the episode. I just don't like her, period. It's something about her. She's just
So I
bad.
can cross that. I can
We know.
cross that.
We'll just go ahead and we'll drop
question
a
off
link.
my list. Where I was going to say, Al, was Katie Sackhoff any better this episode for you?
No. And
You can see
for whatever reason,
our episode 3 of Mandalorian. You can get Al's thoughts on Katie Sackhoff.
so this is
in
the
more detail.
they're not
sadistic
good.
part of YouTube. We talk about this. We're sitting here recording this, and now all these Katie Sackhoff I work out for my roles and stuff like that videos show up in my feed. I'm like, oh, good Lord, stop. So I'm thinking about getting a restraining order on her videos. But no, I mean, the episode was interesting. I was wrong about all of my predictions. Shucks.
That's too bad.
No surprise feet in frame.
I thought it was going to happen. Well, I mean, I was like, oh, no. So, I don't believe this is the end of Grogu. I don't think it'll be every episode. I do think we'll see the child in the future. And I know we'll talk about it later, so I'll wait to talk about the ending of this episode.
Cool. Yeah, I also enjoyed this episode. It's I've watched it 4 times, full disclosure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And every time I've watched it, I've got chills for the 5 minutes from when you see his X-Wing, Luke's X-Wing come into frame until he walks into the bridge there. But I guess we can I've got a few points we can run through in chronological. I took some notes when I watched it last time. And we can kind of touch on things.
Does yours have procedural at the top as well?
No, I figured you'd got that covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want to steal your word.
So I enjoyed the intro to this episode. I've got a weak spot for the dogfight type stuff they do in this show. I feel like this season specifically, all of them have been pretty phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So it got off on the right foot for me for this one. Using Slave One in that Imperial shuttle as like a decoy kind of thing, or
So I have a question about Slave One.
Yeah,
maybe you can help me with. When they get on the ship, did they go and lay down their backs and then it goes up?
From what I understand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's curious. All I got for you. This is Where Are You, Jeff?
Because I was like, how does the cockpit work on this thing?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it rotates in there, but I always just assumed that was how it is.
I guess it's true.
Then again, it's fictional, so.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I was just curious. I was watching it land. I was like, wait. So, did they land and they're on their backs? And then they got to like
roll out of their seats. Do a backflip.
Yeah.
So the next thing I had was the Katie Sackhoff question for Al, but we'll go ahead and strike that one.
Well, I know what you're saying, Al. She's pretty hammy. I mean, she's I don't think there's any like actor or actress that irritates me as much as they do for you, Al, but I can see that she's just lacking in the acting department. She's very, especially the dialogue she's given is like kind of like 80s action movie dialogue almost, especially in this episode at times. She hams it up a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, her face acting is not good, and
she gets a little like overacty.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, she's a little over animated.
Yeah,
she's still not as bad as Hilary Swank.
So I don't remember her in the
same. And I also wonder if she's gonna. She's just got kind of like a villain face to me. Like, and I don't know anything about her from Clone Wars or anything. But like, is there any like? Do you guys know if there's any like anti-hero element to her character, or if it's?
Don't get me lying to you.
What's that, Brandon?
The only thing that I know is that her sister was the former like ruler of Mandalore until Darth Maul kind of killed everybody. That's why she's kind of on like a vendetta to get the Darksaber.
Sure.
And kind of retain her homeland, so to speak. Yeah, I wonder how that's going to play out, which we can get to later. I always think it's funny. Speaking of Katie, when they go to the like cantina and talk to the Night Owls, first of all, where's the other guy? They could have used a little red shirt in this episode. Maybe a little bit of somebody could have got killed. You know what I'm talking about? The other guy, the third one.
Third one.
He's in the bathroom. Or something.
I gotcha. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
And I always think it's hilarious. Yeah, I always think it's kind of hilarious when these like MMA or wrestler turned actors like have to do their wrestling moves in the episode. Like she did this like turnbuckle, like jump spin, like wrestling move.
It's in their contract. I get to do one off the ropes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Gina Carino in this episode for me was rough.
Poop.
I don't know if you
She's
guys
a turd,
felt that
as
way.
Jeff would say.
She's not as some might say a good actor.
Oh man,
She's pretty bad. She hams it up.
Son of a mud scuffer.
Oh, that was rough. That was rough. She might be worse as far as acting goes for Katie Sackhoff.
She definitely
But
is.
I don't know why, but she's a little more palatable than Katie Sackhoff. I don't know what it is.
I think she's, well, I don't know.
She's a little bit more of like the muscle kind of thing. So I feel like she
Yeah.
doesn't.
She's
I
just
still
more of
don't
a brute
believe that
force,
she's going to be
but-
throwing those like. So the Mandalorian is like having a hard time fighting that one, and he's got that rod of unicorn fur or whatever it is, and he's like, wow, wow, pew, 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 and he stabs it.
You talking
and
about the Dark Trooper?
Yeah,
See?
yeah, the robot
Okay.
guy. Yeah, so he
Terminator. T-1000.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. By the
There
way.
was a couple of moments where I got little Terminator music vibes in this episode.
Oh, dude.
too.
Dun, dun,
Well,
dun, dun.
I didn't like the music that they did for the Dark Troopers personally. I thought it was a little too dubsteppy, but I did like the stuff with the Dark Troopers. I liked it definitely gave Terminator vibes, especially how Mando kind of takes him out with he puts like the Beskar like rod through his neck and then kind of like cranks it, and it's like it's got like fluid flying out and stuff like that.
I love too in that sequence where the thing's like bashing his head into the wall, but his helmet's just like slowly moving back.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you know
it
what that
won't
reminded me of? BVS,
Oh
baby.
God.
I can see that.
Yep. Batman bashing Superman.
Surprise review.
So so
I just appreciate the reference. I mean, I know that's what they were going for, so thank you. Thank you, Peyton Reed.
Yeah.
yeah. No, but she comes in there
I
and she's
actually
like,
have.
I'm just gonna throw
Sorry,
these things
Al.
all over the place.
I got to interrupt you, Al. I'm sorry. I just noticed.
interrupt you like 3 times in a row now.
I just noticed in my notes I said Mando versus Dark Trooper, BVS vibes with a face bashing. Right, Al?
Got him. Got him.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you again. Go ahead.
It's all right.
One other thing I want to say.
It's your show. I'm just on it.
As he lifts his chewy mug.
So anyway, so he's having a hard time with his special pole, and he sticks him and all that stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, this could be the end of Mando or whatever. You know, it's not going to be because they have a season 3 already signed up. And then she
Tune
comes
in
in,
next
she's like,
time on Mandalorian.
that's what I was thinking. So she just comes in and she's like flinging them, like, you know, and it's like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Nah, it don't compute. Has nothing to do with her being a woman or anything like that. It's just that he had so many issues.
She walked out that whole scene where I said the son of a mud scuffer thing. That whole gun sequence. My gun's jammed. First
Yeah.
off,
How does
laser
that
guns
happen?
get jammed.
Yeah, I wrote a note about that too. So guns can jam in Star Wars. How does this?
Yeah. And then she gets in the elevator and she's basically just like smashing her gun on the ground.
Yeah. Why didn't it just like come to life and like
all right, we're good.
shoot up
Yeah.
and then shoot around?
Yeah.
I don't know. It would.
That sequence to me was just so like it just wasn't necessary. It didn't give any like.
Well, now
didn't
she's
drive
like a favorite of a lot of people because of the stuff outside of the show. We don't want to talk about it, but I'm just saying she's like a favorite of a lot of people because of that, and she's also the most hated because of that. So I'll be
Gotta
interested
love
to
Star
see
Wars
what
fandom.
the Disney brass do about her, because she doesn't align with them. But so we'll see if she's on next season. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she will be. Or involved with that Rangers of the New Republic show or something
Well, it's just
that.
It's just like Mandalorian's becoming Charlie's Angels, you know. He's got all the women, and then he's like sitting back at the hub like Bosley. Like,
I did kind of get that feeling when they they got off the ship the first time in the cruiser, the Imperial cruiser, and like it was like four chicks just going there. And,
It's like
Avengers Endgame moment.
yeah, yeah.
ladies first.
But I'll say this: it wasn't as egregious as Endgame. It was
I agree.
They all were
for
the
sure.
ones that happened to be in the ship. Mando was supposed to stay behind so that they could, kind of distract everybody. And Boba, that's another thing that I loved was Boba's little like when he's like, acting like he's trying to take down their ship, missing them, and then as soon as they get free, he's like pew pew and just like takes out the two tire fighters like super easy, and then kind of jumps into hyperspace.
Did you just call them tire fighters?
I
think you did. I think you
Mace
called
Windu
them
drives tire fighters.
I think you called them tire
You can reverse it and find out. We'll see when it comes out. I don't think I did, but maybe.
So after after that sequence we were talking about with the kind of the trooper neck snap, and he sends the rest of them out into space in the vacuum. Next was the sequence with Moff Gideon, Grogu, and Mando. Which watching it was cool. It was a cool sequence, but like I was like, you really think he's just gonna let you take the kid? And he just like walks up to Baby Yoda, like not like standing right behind him with a thing that just cuts things in half.
Was his blood.
Yeah,
to study.
I was like, you're just not even gonna like be cautious about the fact that this guy's just
He's
like
got
murderers.
a dark saber.
Yeah.
Still.
I don't know when y'all want to talk about it, but
I don't want to talk about it.
the stinger, the mid credits,
The
I guess
Boba
you could
show?
call it. Yeah, that was the best part of
Talk
the.
about an hour
That,
later.
that was the best part of all of Mandalorian. That was the best part of all of
You a fan
Mandalorian.
of Jabba's palace?
No, he just walks in and is like,
He's a big Bib Fortuna fan.
I'm
Yeah,
a big shoot him in the eyes fan. But no, he just walks in and like,
I like the music for that.
Boba!
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boba.
Winnie Wonga.
I know this is going to be a reference that a lot of people don't get, but go and look it up. Edgar Winter had a album cover that looked just like that guy. It's really weird. So,
One thing that I mentioned to Ryan about that scene was they dropped a McClunky reference when one of the guards got shot.
I keep listening for that, and I don't know. I just keep I'm not
do it
hearing
again.
it for
It's
whatever
there.
reason. All right. Oh well.
For people,
I'll watch it
Al,
again.
do you know about the McClunky thing?
no.
Just real quickly, when Disney put out the Star Wars 4K versions on Disney Plus, for some reason they added in Greedo saying McClunky when he gets shot by Han.
Oh, I heard about
New
that. I
Hope.
didn't know it was called the McClunky. Yeah.
And so they did a little like nod to that.
Yeah, I wonder at this rate, at this point in history, I wonder which movie has been re-edited more, the Spielberg stuff or the Star Wars stuff, because
Definitely
they
Star
just
Wars.
keep
Gotta be Star
going in and
Wars.
fiddling with it.
They can't go a single release without changing something.
Hey, Brandon and I got the really cool old school stuff, so
Ryan's
pretty
got them
neat.
too.
huh?
Yeah, Al. I got him too.
Yeah, we made them for you.
Oh, thanks,
Welcome. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Al. Anyways,
So
so he did. Speaking of the Boba Fett show, Favreau also confirmed today, from what I read at least, that it is a completely separate thing from Mandalorian season 3. People were speculating that they're speculating a lot of things. One of the things they were saying was there may not be a season 3. One of the things was that this was going to be in place of season 3. So
But now they're
kinda got an
saying
answer
that
there.
it's interesting that he said that it'll be focused on the same character, but he didn't say Pedro Pascal.
It also said it takes place during the Mandalorian timeline. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Who knows? Up is down.
not me. I don't
I'm
know.
a little.
I was kind of wondering if the Boba Fett stinger, because they didn't have like a title card for it at the end, like an actual actual
Right.
logo treatment. I wondered if it was kind of a tacked on, but supposedly it's already mostly filmed.
Yeah, they released a title card today, I think.
Yeah, I saw that.
So is that the guy that's going to be playing Boba, or is it going to be like a prequel type thing?
Same guy.
I like him.
Tamara Morrison.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I thought that was really cool in the cantina where your girl Sackhoff was like, she was like, "Don't you mean your donor?"
1,000
yeah,
times.
I've heard it. Yeah, and
It's great.
how she's untrusting
I love
of him
all those
because he is, all the clone troopers were based off of
Sure.
him, so or his dad, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever, his donor. I thought that was a cool little bit of tension between the two of them that they would have, it made sense. So I dug.
I've pretty much loved all of the dialogue that he's had in the episodes he's been in so far. So I'll be interested to see where they take that. Show.
I forget the girls.
I'm a little concerned about, not concerned, but curious as to whether he can carry a show on his own.
Mando or
the
Bubba?
sidekick lady will be
Bubba,
there.
Sorry.
Right?
Oh. Yeah,
I just feel like he's kind of like in a sweet spot with Mandalorian right now, like a strong supporting role.
I agree. It's
Like,
it'll be interesting to see what direction. But didn't Pedro Pascal did say that he? I read something about him saying that he is intending to have appearances on it. So maybe it'll be
nice.
they'll cross paths again. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's intending, or they're wanting him to. That's two totally
Yeah, I
different things.
We'll make it happen.
You never know.
Talking to my agent.
Yeah.
See if I can get a better paycheck.
All right, so let's dive into the big moment, the big surprise that they kept secret for so long, the Luke Skywalker appearance.
I kept seeing stuff online saying it was going to happen. People just couldn't help themselves for the entire season. They couldn't help themselves. So I mean,
I don't know.
Everybody's
I saw like
speculating.
fan theories and stuff, but didn't know that like
No,
did stuff actually leak about it?
I don't think.
No,
I
I
don't
don't think anything leaked in terms of production. But yeah, I mean, even we had like theories that Luke could show up, and we were trying to speculate who
Yeah.
the Jedi that will come for Grogu would be.
I had theories about his boot, but other than that,
I gotta say, I agree with you, Brandon. I was not a fan of the music for the Dark Troopers, but Luke's music was
his
awesome.
ringtone now. That's his ringtone.
Yeah. When Brandon texts me, that's what
It's like,
that's
wow,
what
wow.
plays.
Yeah.
What did you
So-
guys think about Luke, the execution of, I guess, as for the reveal of Luke, for the execution as far as the stand-in, and then the reveal
thought
at the end?
Okay, first off, Luke was never that thick, not that hulking. So Luke was very scrawny in the original movies, and the face
Well,
looked
he's
very
been working out the last 8 years, so
Yeah, exactly.
cut him some slack.
His face was very uncanny valley for me.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It was pretty bad job, if you ask
So
me.
from the moment that you saw his his X-wing come into frame, and you saw it pull in, you could see R2 in the back.
You weren't wearing pants.
And-
We know.
Yeah. Still aren't. Still am not. Whatever. And then they kind of like, as he came into the ship, they like slowly, like you saw it was a Jedi walking down the hallway, and then they revealed it was a green saber, and then they showed his hand, the
Gloved hand.
glove hand, yeah. And the whole time that music was playing, I was just like, it was awesome. I was like, this is so awesome. I never thought I was going to see this in a movie.
Freaking rules.
Right. And then, so they get, they're, and I know, Brandon, you kind of told me you weren't a huge fan of the combat, which this or Rogue One is my favorite. The Vader scene at the end of Rogue One is my favorite.
Comparing
lightsaber
apples to
combat in
apples,
all
I just
live
felt
action.
I felt like the Vader's choreography and brutality was much, like, it was a lot better done. Like, I just felt like this was, I don't know, at times it was pretty cool, but also at other times it felt either too choreographed or too slow, or I don't know what it was.
I just felt so. It was very functional and deliberate to me the way he moved. Like it was less. I don't know.
I just wanted it to be
fluid,
more
I
kinetic.
guess, but
I guess.
Well,
I think that's just a preference thing. Like I prefer this type of. Like I would prefer this even over the Ahsoka stuff we saw earlier in the season, which was
Gotcha.
cool. Like I enjoyed it.
So if you guys ever do
I
a wrap
disagree
up
on that one personally, but
if you guys ever do a wrap up show,
You're not going to join us?
I would like to, but I would like to.
well, you can't. So
This is it.
Brandon just wanted to say that.
Everybody, if you're wondering if there will be a next episode with Al, my contract expired. No, I would like to bring my nephew on because he is in the know like Jeff is, but he comes at it from a younger perspective, much younger than all of us. And, but he's very knowledgeable, and he was like geared up. Like I drove into town. That's why I'm in the bunk bed room again. I drove into town for Christmas, and it's got Christmas bedding. So I drove in, and like I didn't get a "Hey Uncle Al, how's it going?" Anything. Did you watch Mando? Like that was his first thing he said. So I watched it. I left Saturday morning at like 6 a.m. and I got home Friday night around 11:30, and I was like, I gotta watch it, because if I get home and haven't watched it, I'm not gonna be able to talk to him about it, and he's gonna be kind of. So he was geared up, and I think that, and I don't really care what anybody thinks, but I believe that that's what matters mostly to the Star Wars and everything. I think it matters. It should matter more to that new generation coming up loving Star Wars. Now he's 16. He's loved Star Wars since he was like 4. So he's been loving this stuff, and does all the Disney stuff and whatnot. So I'm pretty excited to look at it through his lens. I have my own persnickety way of looking at things, but he and his dad, my brother-in-law, are like through the roof. The Boba Fett shooting the Stinger, that was the best part. I mean, like they loved that. The Luke stuff, they loved it. So I think it's interesting to look at this outside of a grown man's point of view and look at it through a young man's point of view, because that's usually what entertainment
would hardly
is.
Say I'm a grown man.
Well, not mentally. I meant.
I got a toy lightsaber. All right.
It's metal,
and it's not the only one.
They're not scrawny. They're nice.
I have a question. Did you hold on to that during the episode?
No, but I will say Jeff came over. Jeff came over, and every time he comes over, he like looks at this. It's below my screen in my theater room. And he's like, every time he comes over, he just like looks at it like, can I touch it? I'm like, go ahead, Jeff.
It's okay, Jeff. Go ahead.
Plays with it. He's like, do you ever like just want to like walk around with this on your belt? I'm like,
Jeez.
yeah, Jeff, I do.
Jeez,
what a goob. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's the thing is, I love the idea of this. I just wish the execution was better.
Yeah,
because it's irritating when the very next day somebody puts out a
better version,
a YouTube like
So let's talk about that part. As I said, I was pumped up until the moment that he came in onto the bridge and like the blast doors open and the the green saber smoke stuff, and then he reaches for that hood. And I'm in my mind, I text you. I was like, Sebastian Stan. Yeah. And he pulls it off, and it's CGI face Luke. And I'm like, no.
And apparently Favreau said that it's Hamill in that moment, apparently, and they just de-aged Hamill's old face. It's like, why even do that? Like, you got to de-age his voice, you got to de-age his face. I
don't get it.
Got to de-age his belly.
I mean, they used a stand-in for all the action. Use somebody that looks like him. and then
Yeah.
put the deep fake stuff on top of his face. Because
Yeah, that's the other thing. So Brandon and I have talked about this before. So deepfake does a lot of goofy stuff, replacing faces and whatnot like this. But it's always it always comes out kind of like down the road. This episode came out on Friday, and by Saturday they had the deepfake done of Luke Skywalker, and it looked 10 times better than what they did.
Yeah,
on the
it's
show.
amazing how and here's the thing, I'm guessing that Lucas, they did all the stuff themselves, and I can only imagine how much they charged to put this together. And this
I
other
gotta
person,
wonder if it's like a contractual thing.
I just
or
don't
something,
understand
like,
how
Every department
this
charges
continues
each
to
department, I'm
happen.
guessing.
Like Lucasfilm has done these like face replacement stuffs throughout the entire like new trilogy of movies.
Rogue One, they did it
Rogue
too.
One, they did it with Rise of Skywalker, they did it with this, and it continues to look just like not
It's
there.
not right.
And they did it with Tarkin.
Man,
Like-
it was when he. I told you guys too. I watched this episode for whatever reason. I watched it without. I turned HDR off on my TV because of Mandalorian, like we were talking about. So I watched this episode the first time through without HDR on.
he
my
made Katie
Samsung
go stay
TV.
at her parents' house for the weekend. I gotta have the house to myself.
And man, like one of the pupils was like jet black, the other one was not, and then his hair was like blended into the background. So I turned HDR on, and it helped it a little bit. But there was and rewatched it and helped it a little bit. But when he starts off and he has this little one-liner or whatever, and then he turns his head towards the child, and it's just like frying pan.
Yeah. It's weird, man. I don't know. I get the wanting to, utilize the same actor again. But I just feel like it's just not the right way to go. I mean, this is also coming from a person who didn't like how they did Solo with casting somebody that had zero Solo, traits.
There's no pleasing Brandon.
So I don't know what the option is, but I'll say
Don't
this.
use him, but kind of do.
I'll say this though. I did somebody put a deep fake out using Alden Ehrenreich's performance and put, a young Harrison Ford's face on it. And that would have helped so much to have it just to be able to believe that this is Han Solo, because I could never make myself believe that I'm watching Han Solo during that movie.
Yeah.
So
The Luke thing for me is so that the face thing is so like limiting when I'm watching a performance like that, because in my mind I'm like, all right, so if they're just gonna pay $1 trillion to do this fake face on him for a dialogue scene where his head's barely moving, like this character's obviously not going to get any love down the road in that form, because they're not going to do that for every scene. So you're like, if they're testing out interest in going further with this character, like it just would have been cool to see them actually just use somebody else, or I don't know. I just
yeah, maybe.
it was such a
Yeah.
So
I don't
that
know.
kind of goes back to Al saying that he thinks that we'll see Grogu go again. I don't think we will. I mean, maybe in a small way, but because he's with Luke, I just don't see them. I
hope they do something else with Luke, with the Academy or something. It would be really cool.
It would be, but like you were saying, they need to kind of go all in and just get. Like, I mean, I know
I agree.
Sebastian
I don't
Stan
want to
is
see
like
a
the
Luke
fan cast.
I do
but-
not want to see a Luke series where it's fake face the entire time. I'd go
or not
crazy.
or not fake face like this. Like, I think I know that Ryan, you feel like this hasn't been done well yet. I personally feel like Blade Runner 2049 did it the best.
Yeah.
But I mean, to the point where the visual effects people even fooled Denis Villeneuve, and he thought that it was the actual archival footage when they showed him. And I agree. I think that's the best that it's been done. And
You talking about the Sean Young stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I still, even when I watch that movie, like it's definitely done well, but I still like get that. It's just like that little like distracting element of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Where
I mean,
I'm
it's
just-
like
even-
Alice said,
even
it's
if it's-
Uncanny Valley, but is what they
And
call
it's
it.
even it's one of those things too where like the fact of the matter is like if this was done with Luke in the future, I know that Luke's not that young, so the whole time I'm just gonna be watching, like waiting for.
Oh yeah, and that's true. It's and it would be interesting to get someone's take that isn't in, doesn't know how the sausage is made, so to speak,
Sure.
Like, but I don't know. It's hard. It's like Tarkin. Like, it was so distracting watching Rogue One, knowing that Tarkin was, a CG character for the most part. And
even Leia at the end was.
Yeah,
distracting.
She looked like a video game.
Yeah.
Like her
well, I mean,
face looked
because
so fake.
it is. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I know I say this about this show a lot, but the shading and just the textures and things like that with the ships and all that, it seems like they're so hurried, not just for Luke, but for the Tarkin and Leia. And like they just don't do the finishing touches.
Well, it's just fidelity. I mean, it's like you look at Pedro Pascal's face up close, you see all his pores, and you see like so much detail in his face, and then you cut to Luke, and he's just like got like Vaseline over his face or something.
He's got the Barbara Walters glow.
He's got like semi like.
And then he moves a little bit, and his
eyes,
face like his face like waits a little second, then it like comes. It's like,
dude, I'm telling you, when I watched it the first time, his hair in the background, it was almost like it was just like his face was just floating there with no hair. It was bad.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
but let me ask you this: so you guys, I mean, I liked it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm saying that you guys like it a lot more than I do. Like this is, I appreciate it a great deal. I enjoy watching it. But you guys know all the stuff and whatnot. So did that take you out of the show at all? Or were you able to like get right back in there and be like, oh, okay,
the tech stuff with Luke? It was distracting for me. But
you watched it 4 more times.
yeah.
I'm gonna like it this time.
Honestly, that did help. Just like watching it multiple times and just trying to focus on not focusing on that.
You're like looking at the wall next time.
It took me out of it for sure.
My second time watching, and I've only seen it twice, but my second time watching it was better. Although Twitter kind of not indirectly spoiled this for me.
That made me so mad
on Friday.
When I heard you. That got spoiled for you.
It wasn't like, it was just like somebody tweeted, did anybody else have a problem with the face CGI? And I'm like, oh, well, I know what this is.
Brandon texted me about a half hour before that. Brandon texted me, gonna have to stay off Twitter today to avoid Mandalorian spoilers.
Yeah, they didn't last long. I'm addicted, okay?
By the way, a friend of mine lives in Kentucky, and he was traveling from Georgia to Kentucky for Christmas, and he calls me up. He's like, he couldn't take a picture of it because he zipped past it too quickly, but he's like, I just saw one of those signs, the flashing signs on the side of the interstate that like, buckle your seatbelt or whatever it is. And it said, Cousin Eddie says Twitter's full, stop texting, put your phone down or whatever. And I was like, that's pretty good. So anyway.
Great. I will say this for
real
this
nice.
This show, me, the person who absolutely hates reading, it got me to start reading.
Wow.
So
the more you know.
Brag.
Not
all of us can read.
That's how much this show has kind of like sucked me in on a lot of this stuff, and Brandon knows I hate reading. So
I think you guys share that hatred.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying this one so far. So I guess we kind of already talked about.
We didn't talk
One
about
more thing.
Well, we kind of skipped over the
Sorry,
Moff Gideon versus Mando fight, which I thought was pretty good.
Oh yeah, sure.
I thought that was good. I like that fight. It was a lot more, I say kinetic. I don't know what other word to use, but what I was wanting from the Luke fight, which was more of a, I don't know, like.
See, for that one, it just kind of felt like he was just like hack and slash. Like,
that's what I like, though. I think, I don't know, maybe that's just a personal preference.
So, do you remember the movie Cable Guy? with Jim Carrey,
Mhm.
and that fight scene. Yeah, that's what that fight scene reminded me of. So it kept going on.
See, well, that's probably why I love all the new like the sequel trilogy fights, is because there's so much more like sledgehammer, like there's more heft to them. Like they feel a little bit more weighty, so to speak. I don't know. I'm using a lot of adjectives. I don't know. Maybe they don't make sense. But
Maybe if you read more, you would know them.
yeah. I got a limited vocabulary, okay? Most of my vocabulary is quotes. So
A vocabulary.
I'm right there with you.
Vocabulary.
but now I did like that fight, and I thought it was I thought it was a good a cool, like whenever he like basically yields or whatever, like Mando doesn't kill him and he's like, oh, you're sparing my life, this is going to be interesting. I was like, well, where's this going? And then they do the whole like Mandalore, Darksaber, whoever wins gets it. And so I thought that was a good new conflict that they could possibly introduce or further in future season.
Also, I think one thing that kind of gets swept under the rug with all of the theatrics with Luke is the fact that I guess they could open the next season with Moff Gideon as a prisoner.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing is typically they do a especially on an episode where they kind of resolve the main like conflict for the most part. They kind of like set the chess pieces up for the next season, but they just like, nope, the end.
Yep.
Like,
right.
It's like
that's why I'm wondering. Like the first thing in my mind was like maybe they'll do some kind of time jump and explain how he got out or whatever. But I mean, the way they ended it, he's definitely in custody of some sort.
Part of me wonders if it ended so abruptly because of COVID shutdowns or something, like, because I would imagine this kind of ended production right as things were shutting down. I don't know.
Yeah,
possibly.
That's possible.
It's possible. But good thing everybody in the show wears masks.
It's true.
They do
for the most part.
All right. Well, before I wrap it up, Brandon, any more one more things?
Let's see here. Let's see. Procedural.
Procedural.
I did think it was really funny that whenever they're like crossing that bridge, the Night Owls and Dune and what's it, Finnick? What's their name?
Fennec.
Like the stormtroopers come out and they're just like deuces, pew, like jump off and then like, see ya. Nah, that's all I got.
All right.
Get out while you can, Ryan.
Well, yeah. All right, gotta go. Bye. All right. Well,
I do agree with you, Al. We should definitely do a recap episode and bring in some people, bring in your nephew, and get Fef on here, and maybe Chris or whoever, and kind of get an overall like what we think about this season as a whole. And
I will say this was a good idea, Brandon. This was a fun review series that we did here, and
I'm gonna miss it. I'll be honest with you. I miss the like big show that you watch week to week instead of binging. I love the like.
Yep.
I miss TGI
back,
Fridays.
So
yeah,
it's about to get real with Star Wars shows over the next few years. So
I miss, Perfect Strangers and Family Matters.
All right, Al. We'll see you next time. All right. Well, we will definitely we'll make sure we do a full season recap, and we'll try to get Jeff in here and get your nephew in here and have some fun with it. But until then, I guess it's about time we sign off. Again, I would recommend that you follow us on Twitter at CAPECAST Show.
I don't recommend it. I demand it.
There you go. Al demands it. So it's got to be good stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
He follows it routinely. Loves his geek shows. Right, Al?
I get all of the geek crates, all that stuff.
And then on Instagram at CiNEMACHiNE and I recommend you check out our weekly show where we review movies of your choice and new releases. And that is at CiNEMACHiNE Pod on Instagram. So until next time, guys. So long.